So what do you do when a ministry has a different position from the CBI? Question is, and I want to put this again, this is not speculation nor is it informed information with us, not what our sources tell us. We have the full CBI report and we are reporting this tonight with full details of the CBI report. We have the physical copy of the report that was presented before the members of parliament yesterday. We have top-notch lawyers on both sides tonight. We have Ranjit Kumar, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court representing the Reliance Group, Vikas Singh, former Additional Solicitor General, petitioners in the case Subramanian Swamy, and also petitioner in the 2G case and former Chief Election Commissioner N. Gopalaswamy. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. Now, with this information, basically, Mr. Ranjit Kumar, start with you first. With this information, with these papers, with the CBI's findings, your client, the Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, is in serious trouble, isn't it?
No, Arnav, it's like this, that whatever you have said about what is stated in that report to the JPC, that already forms a part of the charge sheet which has been filed against the three executives of Reliance. If you look at pages 49 to 54 of the first charge sheet that has been filed in the case before the O.P. Saini special judge, all the facts that which you have stated about the holding in Swan Telecom and the Reliance Telecom or the Reliance
no, you're underplaying
company
it.
Is all a part
no,
of the charge sheet. It's all a part of the charge
No,
sheet.
that's interesting that you're saying, but you're typically underplaying it.
That's
That's
not something new. It's not
no,
something new.
One second, sir. One second. See, your basic objective is to ensure that as far as possible, the hit is limited to some executives of Reliance and doesn't go all the way up. I'm just being very direct about it.
That's not the question. The CBI itself has filed a charge sheet. The CBI, other than the charge sheet, could not have gone beyond the charge sheet before the JPC has said something which is contrary to the charge sheet.
It couldn't have. Of course it couldn't have.
So
I understand that. My question to you is very specific now. Let's not get into that point.
Tell me.
My question to you is very specific.
Tell me what is the specific question.
I am not asking you about the charge sheet, sir. I am asking you about the 46-page PowerPoint presentation made by the CBI director before the JPC yesterday, in which there was an attempt at intimidation. That's another point. Question is this. Page 25, paragraph 1, I'm sure you've seen, says in February 2007, officials of Reliance Telecom structured Swan Telecom Private Limited in a manner that its association with Reliance Telecom may not be detected. Question is, what is the culpability
Those very lines, that's why I took out the charge sheet and compared what you had sent me, the note in the paragraph 25.
My question is on misrepresentation of fact.
The charge sheet.
My question is on misrepresentation of fact.
Misrepresentation. That will be... No, that you are asking me to disclose my defense as to what I will answer in
I'm asking you to just give me some sense what defense you have, given this very specific point. 9.9% equity by RTL, 90.1 by Tiger Traders.
Yeah, Tiger Traders is the allegation is that 90.1% is with Tiger Traders, 9.9 was with Reliance. And that is below the 10%, which is the cutoff mark for supposed to be making an application for a second license.
I'll get a second perspective from Subramanian Swamy. You heard Ranjit Kumar there. Mr. Swamy, are the corporate links becoming more detailed right now, and what you make of the presentation to the JPC?
Well, I think I'm very happy that the CBI is seized of the matter, because this was my first letter that I wrote to the Prime Minister, on the basis of which I asked for sanction to prosecute Raja. And that was November 29th, 2008. And it is that letter which the Supreme Court took cognizance of. And the fact of matter is that there is a cabinet decision that a company which already has a license cannot get another license on the basis of another company, which is the charge essentially that is being made against both Loop and the Reliance. In the case of Reliance, it's very well established that they had over 10%, which was the cutoff point. And therefore, they fudged the records to bring it down to less than 10%.
Exactly. So
let me tell you that the New York Stock Exchange has refused to list for the last 11 years the Reliance companies on the New York Stock Exchange because they don't meet these disclosure standards on how these shares are owned by whom.
Yes, so now
it's a problem with the Reliance that they manipulate these share dilutions, ownerships, and so on at will.
so this
In this particular case, they got caught.
exactly. So they got caught. This question is of corporate honesty. And besides which, I just want to point out one part here, Vikas Singh, before I come to you. One part in this report I am particularly worried about. And this report says that there is a person, please see it here, this is exactly, I'd like to tell you, this is what the CBI presented. Please read this line. However, certain public servants, including the then Secretary and Minister of Communications, did not allow for issue of such notices, allowing the company to operate licenses in violation of UASL guidelines. This is in connection with Loop Telecom. So the question is that the then Minister and the secretary of in that ministry was working for the Ruyas, for the SR group. Mr. Vikas Singh, this is extremely serious. The CBI has found that not just the minister, there was a secretary who was blocking notices being served to this particular group when the ministry officials knew that there was a big hanky-panky, it was a one big botch-up operation. Inside the ministry, people were working for a corporate group.
Arnab, I'll tell you one thing. This is actually really speaking prejudging the issue.
How?
Because if you ask me, in our country, traditionally, our legal system has always been of the view that if you are able to manage your affairs in compliance with the existing laws, whatever be the existing laws, you can't be faulted. Now, if the laws permitted you to have this kind of an arrangement where you had these shares in some company and later on you could have, like for instance, unless you are able to prove that for doing this, the minister or the secretary or whoever has taken some gratification that purpose has permitted them to do. Otherwise, if it was permitted in law and if they have planned their affairs in such a manner which is compliant to law, there is no offense.
But how is it not compliant with law? It's not. Is it compliant with law, Mr. Gopal Swamy?
Because
Mr. Gopal Swamy, is it compliant with law?
The compliance with law, when I say compliance with law, means the law as existing on that date with regards to these licenses.
Mr. Gopal Swamy is responding. Yes, is it compliant with law?
A lot of effort was made to conceal the facts, and one has to go behind it to find out who the real culprits are. I mean, you can't just, you see, you trying to get under the law by trying to manipulate the entire thing, and then you say that, I have complied with the law, or that's not acceptable at all. The CBI needs to go behind it to find out what exactly is the maneuvering which is done, and on that basis, the courts must be moved for taking action.
Precisely. How is it compliant with law, Mr. Vikas Singh? Because the CBI's presentation,
I have not been able to.
The CBI's presentation.
I have not been probably able to. Yeah, sorry.
My point is simply, I find fault with your argument that it's compliant with law, sir, because the CBI's presentation today and the ED report earlier conclude that this particular SR group, through a series of transactions, namely Santa Securities, BPL Communications, Loop Mobile, Loop Telecom, etc., acquired an indirect stake in Loop Mobile and Loop Telecom, and the charge is that this was intentionally done to escape the regulatory purview of the Department of Telecom. And when now some officials found out that there was an attempt to do this, at that time the minister and the secretary came out in defense of SR. So I don't know how you are saying it was compliant with law. It was a direct transgression of the law.
That's the point. What I am trying to tell you is this, that the fact that there was an intention to violate the law is something which has to be proved by evidence. It is not something which the CBI can prejudge. CBI can only make an allegation. At this stage, we are at a stage of only making of an allegation.
Sir, the question of deliberately...
Now, if the law permitted, if the law permitted a company to have 9% holding and then later on transfer that holding,
again there's a fault. Again there's a fault. The CAG report states Loop did not have the requisite paid up share capital on the date of application. Question therefore is whether Loop Telecom deliberately misrepresented facts to obtain the license. No, what's it? Subramanian Swamy.
Wherever
Subramanian Swamy, I want your rebut to the charge that it's all compliant with law and hence we are prejudging the facts.
Well, you see, I have at the moment only studied the Reliance thing. I know that Loop, the same charges apply. But the fact is that in the case of Reliance, there is a section of the law which makes it a very serious offense. IPC section 467 actually calls for life imprisonment for forgery of documents of this kind.
Mr. Kumar.
Now, there is no doubt in my,
Arnab, there is no
in my
question
mind
of forgery
that,
yet. What is being stated is today what is all allegation. Please don't prejudge the issue that
of course, it's allegation.
can prove.
If in a democracy we cannot have a debate except it is as a court procedure, we'll have Soviet Union here.
Properly. Now there are many companies in this country which have shareholdings from different interconnected companies, and that is legal. Like if a person holds say 10 companies and 10 companies hold shares
sir.
in other 10
I have a
companies,
specific question
That's
for
not the
you.
issue here. That's not the issue here.
That is still legal.